Good morning, everyone. I guess I'll start off by answering a few questions about the first coursework, which is due today. So I have this email. Dear Professor Laramee, I'm so sorry that I submitted the research methods coursework one submission questionnaire twice. After the first submission, I found I wrote the wrong DOI both in my video and questionnaire, so I modified and re-uploaded my video and filled out the questionnaire again. I'm concerned that you may have been misled by the information in my first submission, so in this email I write the correct DOI in the video link. Okay, so it's not actually a question, this one. So we will score the latest submission. So if you submit more than once, we will score the latest submission. So I think that's the question that's implied in this email. Sending an email with the correct DOI and link will not help. It will not help. So this email will not be part of the assessment criteria. So don't rely on email to submit a DOI or a PDF, a URL to the PDF, just so everybody knows. Yeah. I think there was another one here. But I have included the DOI and URL and author in the description of my video. However, YouTube does not allow the link to be clickable, so you'll have to manually copy and paste it. So, okay, that's very surprising. To me, it sounds like a problem with the student submission, actually. If YouTube doesn't let you provide a clickable link, it means something went wrong or your YouTube account is still being set up. Sometimes when somebody sets up a YouTube account, it takes time to process, like 48 hours or something. In which case, after the processing is finished, then the link will be clickable. But it's actually not a problem on our side, so to speak. It's more a problem on the student side. So you want to make a YouTube account at least 24 hours before the submission, preferably 48 hours. Yeah. And if you can't, if something's gone wrong with your YouTube and you just can't do it, you can use a different service like Vimeo, and then you won't have any problems. But if we can't get the link to work, you will lose points. Question? Yeah, it should be okay. If we can copy and paste the link, it'll be okay. But just keep in mind that's an unusual situation. It's not the case for most students. It'll only be the case for maybe 3 or 4 students that tried to set up their YouTube account too late, like really in the last minute. Okay. Any other questions? Oh, here's another question. The coursework brief says the video is aimed at 17-year-olds to resonate with them. I have included an anime character. The idea is that the anime character is trying to understand the video content as well and ask questions. I think this is a good idea and I have included it, but want to run it by you. I don't want it to take away from the seriousness of the presentation or make the video link too childish. What do you think? Okay for me to keep, or do you suggest I remove it? It sounds okay, but to be official, if I wanted to give like an official answer to this, I'd have to see it, and then I can give you my opinion. So I'm happy to look at videos before you submit them, and then give you my opinion. Same with research papers. Any other questions? about coursework 1. Everybody's excited about coursework 1? It's a good one. I like coursework 1. I like courseworks 1 and 2. Coursework 3 is okay, but I like them. These are transferable skills. These are skills that you can bring with you after you graduate and keep using and keep applying. Does anybody remember the lecture on focus groups? So the lecture on focus groups last Wednesday was all theory, right? So today we're going to take that theory and put it into practice. If you guys can stay awake that long. So as usual, we're going to form groups of 4 to 6. You put your name at the top of a Google Doc, right? And then you're going to brainstorm as a group. You're going to brainstorm and you're going to choose a hypothesis or a question that you want to answer or investigate, right? I just put down some examples. These are just to give some examples. You can be creative. You're encouraged to be creative, right? So an example could be, what is the best way to choose a dissertation topic, right? You could ask that question to your group. Or what are the most interesting research topics, right? And how do you decide what's interesting and what's not? Or what would be the most interesting future research methods workshop, like in this class? Or why is AI so popular right now? And how long is it going to last, the popularity? Or what will the next trend be after AI? Right? AI is a trend right now, but there'll be future trends. And how long will AI's popularity last? These are just some ideas. You can think of anything that's interesting to you and try to ask it or form a hypothesis. So feel free to be creative, right? Then derive a set of 5 questions to test your hypothesis or answer the question. And then each member of the group formulates an answer to those 5 questions, right? And then the group, you answer each question individually, and then you form a group answer to those questions. And then you submit the Google Doc. So it's what happens in a focus group. This is exactly what happens in a focus group. You get something like 5 questions, 5 to 10 questions. You discuss the answers with your peers in your subgroup, and then you submit the answers. So it will be something like 10 minutes or 8 to 10 minutes per question, something like that. Or maybe less, 5 to 10 minutes per question. Does that make any sense? Do I have another slide? So this is just some example, right? You have the names of the group members at the top. You have a hypothesis explicitly stated or a question. For example, is it possible to develop a success strategy for a master's degree in computer science? That's a question. Or as a hypothesis, you would state it in the affirmative. It is possible to develop a success strategy for a master's degree in computer science. That's a hypothesis, right? And then I would break that down. If I have that as a hypothesis, I break that down into questions. How important is it to attend classes for a successful degree, right? That's a question that you would ask each of your group members in order to address this hypothesis. And then you'd have answers, right? The summary of individual answers to question 1. Actually, this should be question 1. How much time and effort should students spend on coursework during their degree would be another related question if you're trying to address this hypothesis. And then you'd add the individual answers to question 2 as a group to answer 2. That's just an example of what it would look like. Does that make sense? Good. This is just an example. Do not use this as an example. It's not that creative. It's not that interesting. Yeah. I suppose if you really can't think of anything else, you could use this, but... This should be question 1. You can use one of these questions. You can also be creative and think of your own hypothesis or your own question, like something that you think is interesting. Right? You don't have to use those examples. Right? These are just some suggestions. Feel free to be creative. Like, actually, I mean, the best thing to do is discuss it with your group and try to find something that you actually are interested in. Like, what do you think is actually interesting? Right. Any other questions about the exercise? Okay, so the groups 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, be a good group.